All right, so it is nearly right at 11. A couple housekeeping items. If you have the sheets of paper and don't have a pen, you can just share with somebody next to you. There will be time to fill it out during the presentation as well. And so just hold off. If you want to do it now, you can. Later, there'll be plenty of time.
Can you talk a little louder?
Absolutely, no problem. I appreciate everybody showing up, a nice sized group. I love bigger classes. We have a few seats up front if you want to move your way forward. If not, I totally understand as well. No pressure. There'll be one section for a volunteer, but that doesn't have to be. Anybody doesn't want to. Other housekeeping item is we have the sheets in the back. If we ran out of anything, I'm sorry. This is a little bigger group than I expected, but that's amazing. I see some familiar faces as well. I appreciate people coming out here to show their support, and it's my intent today to give you a little explanation of balance, allow you to assess it here today and kind of see the areas that you could improve in or if you excel, and then give you some homework as well. I wouldn't be a good PT if I didn't give you some homework to work on at home. And we have Casey in the back. She works with me. She's my practice manager. She is a registered nurse and a mama, so I appreciate her coming today and having her time here to help me. And my name is Dr. Michael Derry. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and I own Revision Health Services, which is a mobile concierge practice here in the Nocatee, Jacksonville area. Some of you I've worked with before and others not, but I very much enjoy treating here in Del Webb, and you guys are a great group of people, and hopefully I can give you something that you can take away and apply tonight or even tomorrow. I do welcome any questions throughout. I feel like the more questions you have, the more you get from it. And so I do have some information to get through, which will be a little bit of maybe 15 minutes or so. And then we're going to be doing something. So you're going to be getting up. That's why the chairs are spaced apart, because we will be standing at our chairs. Now, at any point in time in the doing part, if you feel uncomfortable, you feel like you're going to fall, please don't put yourself at risk. You can just sit there and observe and kind of take your best guess. Sound good? Everybody hear me okay? Perfect. The tap dancing calmed down a little bit, so I think that helped me. All right, perfect. And so from tiptoes to tightrope, we're going to learn how to assess our balance and improve it. And people have experienced over time a little decline in balance. Anybody notice a little bit of balance isn't quite what it used to be? Yeah, absolutely. And that's absolutely okay. It's very normal, but we're going to talk about why that's normal. The systems involved in balance. So it's not, balance is a very overarching term, but it actually has different subsystems where you could figure out what areas you need to improve. Now, some people have experienced balance deficits from things like vertigo. If anybody's had vertigo, that's an awful thing to feel, and the room can be spinning, and that can cause your balance to be off, but it's very transient or short. Where other things such as arthritis or medications can affect your balance, which can leave you at risk of a fall, which we definitely don't want, right? We don't want any falls. To learn about balance, we're going to be able to define that a little bit more, understand what it is and the different things that impact your balance. And then we're going to assess it or measure it, right? There's no sense in saying I need to improve my balance, but not know what areas to improve or what things we should be working on. Right, so we're like, I want to improve my balance, and balance is much more than standing on one leg or two legs or doing these other fundamental exercises, which can help, but the more we can narrow down on it, the better off we could be. That makes sense? So if we're going to do it, you might as well do it right, or do it in a way that's specific for your body. It's still not working. And then we're going to learn how to improve it, which is the key. Right? So if we know that our balance is off, and then we can learn what areas we need to improve, how do we actually do it? And balance and exercise in other areas of our life, such as medication, require a certain dosage in order to have an impact. Right? If you take a medication but only take half the dose, you can expect half the improvement. Well, exercise and balance is the same way. If we don't do enough to make change, there will not be change. But unfortunately, unlike medication, you can't just take a pill to improve your balance. A lot of this stuff takes a little bit of hard work. And if you're willing to put in the hard work, you'll notice the improvement in balance. And if we can just, focus on improving our body, and you may or may not prevent a fall, but we just don't know. But it's still worth doing it. It's still the preventative care that we want to focus on. So go ahead.
My next question would go to your what is balance?
Yeah.
There's one inflow, five up.
Yeah.
Is it possible also influenced by hydration?
If you're dehydrated, you will be off, yeah, but your whole body will be off. It won't just be balance.
Okay.
You'll feel off, like as a person. You won't feel yourself. But things that impact your balance, and specifically can range from many things such as medication or joint replacements or arthritis, those types of things. Great question. So balance, so we really don't think about balance until it becomes oh, did you have a question? Did I miss one over here? No, we really don't think about balance until it becomes a problem, right? So if we do something and we notice that was an issue, or let's say the worst case scenario would fall, like navigating a curb or being in your bathroom when the lights are low, and we want to get on top of balance before we notice it is an issue, or if we do notice it is an issue, we want to do the things to improve it right then and not wait till it's bad. Now, just like many things in our body, things deteriorate over time. You've probably noticed a little bit of skin changes or hair color changes or just joint changes over time. And those same things happen to other systems in our body. We just can't see them. And putting all of those things together impact our balance. Does that make sense? And so balance is very normal to decline over time. And that's okay, but it's how steady that decline is really up to you. You can have it really rapid, or you can have a nice slow decline that still allows you to be really functional and really enjoy your life and be more confident in your balance and confident that you won't fall. Right? We want those things, right? We want that steady decline. We don't want that rapid decline. So balance is three major components. It's vision. So I'm sure people have noticed that if you're in the shower and you go to wash your hair and you close your eyes, things can get wild for a second. Like you can notice that your body is not, it's wavering, or you feel really unsteady. Anybody experienced that before? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very common. And vision, it makes up most of our balance. So vision is one of those systems that we're going to look at today. Also proprioception. Anybody know what proprioception is? I'm sure you do, yeah. What is proprioception?
It's well, I'm trying to define it.
Sure.
You have receptors, like in your knee, that can sense whether you're going to fall or not, or you're trying to balance, and that sends information via your nerves up to your head.
Yeah.
How to react. But now I can't think of what action does that sensor.
Oh, that's a perfect explanation though, but in our joints, such as our toes, our ankles, our knees, our hips, we have all of these joint receptors, mechanical receptors, that send a signal to our brain to tell us what they're doing and where they're at. So if I turn away from my hand and I bend my fingers, I know the angle that they're bending because I can feel it, and that signal is coming to our brain. So if you have any type of arthritis or joint replacement, that decreases your proprioception, so that signal that used to be clear is now cloudy. But you can do things to help reverse that and help improve that. That makes sense? So that's proprioception. Vision, obviously, you know your eyes. So you close your eyes. We rely heavily on our vision. We look where we're stepping, and we become more aware of that over time. We become more cognizant of that.
But it's
Mary?
also true with proprioceptors, these receptors, if you don't use them, then the neural connection to your head gets less.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, perhaps as you age, you're not connecting at all. So it's important to actually stress them, meaning use them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll touch on this later, but when you exercise or do something, you're reinforcing those same signals to your brain over and over and over again. So like when I do a squat here, I'm getting those receptors to fire in my knees, my ankles, my hips, to send it to my brain, right? And so that's what helps me become better at maybe bending over and picking something up from the ground. So yeah, the more you use it, the better off it's going to be. And if you don't use it, you lose it, right? We've heard that before, right? So there's a little bit of a dose-dependent response. And like I spoke to earlier, you've got to do enough to make change. We'll touch on that too. And then like I talked to you about earlier, vestibular system, right? The vertigo, the rocks in our inner ear, the seasickness feeling, like you have a fluid-like structure in your ear that tells me if I tilt my head this way, my eyes and my body is going to adapt because of that structure in my ear, which is, probably the lowest one that we treat or work on because it tends to be relatively okay unless you have a heavy medication that impacts it. Go ahead.
In your inner ear, what is it that causes seasickness?
Ooh, that's a good question. That I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah. or I couldn't explain it to you in a way that I felt confident explaining it. Yeah. But I know it, like, if you're reliant on that, there's a feedback, right? So it's going back and forth. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I know I get seasick and I don't like it. And Dramamine, like that definitely fogs your system a little bit. You definitely don't feel yourself. Who knows? But the good news is all of these things that I've talked about can be improved, right? We rely heavily on our vision, so we want to rely less on our vision, even though we will always use it as part of it, but we want to rely on it less. And then it's definitely the proprioception, right? Our ability to read the earth around us through our joints, be able to take a step when we need to, if we feel like we're losing our balance, those types of things. And that's really where the magic can happen. And all of those things give you an improved confidence. And that's huge, because it really bothers me when people withhold from doing something because they think they're going to fall, when there may not be no evidence to prove that, right? And you're trying to protect yourself, I get it, but part of my job is to show you what you're capable of, and we'll do some of that today, is we'll go through some of that capability stuff. Make sense? Has anybody had PT before for balance? Yeah, PT for, I love it. And what'd you guys think? Did it help? Did you learn something? Okay. Sure. And how many of people who rose their hands still do their exercises to improve their balance?
I do it.
Oh, good. You better. You absolutely better. I get it. I get it. Life gets in the way, and it's really hard because there isn't an immediate impact where you feel like you get this positive reinforcement for doing it. It's not immediate. This stuff takes work. And just like the balance is a gradual decline over time, to improve it is a gradual incline over time. And that's tough to put in all that effort and not see a lot of reward right away.
How do you know what exercises, like I have a bunch of exercises
Mm-hmm.
I was given from the Balance Out by Town Center.
Sure.
There's a special books on there.
Yeah.
And they gave me these exercises, but some of the symptoms that I have, like walking downstairs, doesn't seem to influence it at all. Is there other ones that I should be doing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We're going to go over some of my favorite ones, and in that particular question, like you've got to work on those parts of going down a stair, and it's a dose-dependent response. So you've got to make sure you're doing enough to make change, otherwise you won't notice it. But that change is super uncomfortable, right? It's a little scary, it's hard, and those things that we need to get over and work on with an expert or without, depending on how intrinsically motivated you are. But you've got to work on that stuff. Okay? Caveat here too, if you provided us with your name and email, I will send you this stuff. Okay? So you don't have to worry about taking notes or anything like that. All of the exercises on here, we're going to assess it, and in the future one, Casey will send to you guys. So don't worry about taking notes unless you absolutely want to, but that information will be there for you. All right? Perfect. And so we have our balance assessment, which is going to go over those three systems that we just talked about, which were, oh man, all right.
Right there.
Oh, they're right there, yeah. Proprioception, vision, and vestibular system, okay? So this is the doing part. So you see your balance assessment, you're going to put your name there, and then right underneath your name, if you have a pen, if you don't, just make a mental note, like what's your goal? Like why do you want to improve your balance? And that could just be because you've noticed a decline over time, or there's something that you want to do. A cruise, walk at Disney, all of the awesome stuff you can do when retired. Take a second and write that in there. Right? Because if we don't have a goal, we really need a goal because it's hard to stay motivated if we don't have something we're working towards. Now, it can be overall health, which I can appreciate. And if you just want to sneak in balance to your normal daily activity, that's awesome. But like, what's your other goal? There's got to be something there. Okay, and then right underneath that, this is where we start doing. So in the boxes to the right, I want you to write easy, medium, or hard based off of the things that we're about to do. The very first box is the confidence box, which comes from that other sheet of paper. So that other sheet of paper is going to ask you questions of how confident you are you will not fall during that said activity. 0% confident means you are not confident at all. 100% confident means you can do it in your sleep. And then you'll see that whole category, you'll total up all of those numbers and then divide it by 16, and that'll give you your overall confidence. I'll repeat that, and you don't have to do that right now. You could finish that at home, but that's your confidence score. So when we go to improve balance, we first want to assess it to see where you're starting. We do some stuff to improve it, and then we reassess. That's just called good healthcare, right? That's called science.
I have a question. We're going through the first three things, tandem stance,
Yeah.
single leg stance. So I go to single leg stance, and how can I walk around the house?
Ugh. Well,
Walk up and down the stairs, single leg?
no. That's the test that we're going to do together. Yeah. You're getting ahead of me here. We're going to go through that, I promise.
Each one of these you have to go down this
We're going to go through it here in just a second. Yeah, perfect. And so you have that confidence level. Does anybody have any questions on that? You don't have to do it right now, but confidence is a part of balance, right? Does everybody agree with that? Like, we need to be a little bit more confident. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next category, which is proprioception, right? So this is the doing part. So feel free to stand up if you feel comfortable. You're going to stand next to your chair where you can use your chair for balance if you need it. This is the doing part. Everybody get excited. Man, this is a quiet group. All right, who wants to volunteer? Somebody wants to stand up here next to me with no chair. Yeah, come on over. Thank you. What was your name?
Maureen.
Maureen? Michael. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right. Perfect. And so our first one on there is tandem stance, right? Proprioception, tandem stance. Anybody looking at their sheet? You're going to need to write this stuff down on your sheet. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so you're going to write easy, medium, or hard, and we're going to try it together. So tandem stance, we're going to take our right foot in front of our left, and we're going to try to hold that position. Try to hold it. This is narrowing your base of support. And now relax. And now do the left foot in front. That good tandem stance. Hey, where are you going? All right, hold that position. And now relax. Good. So write on your sheet of paper, easy, medium, or hard. Do you want to get your paper?
Oh, I'll remember.
Oh, you'll remember it? Okay.
Yeah. The assessment paper.
Can you scoot right here for me? I don't want you to be in the camera there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're okay. All right, easy, medium, or hard. Our next one is single leg stance, right? Well, if you had a problem with tandem stance, single leg is going to be challenging, so make sure you stand next to your chair and hover your hands.
Okay. Oh.
I'll be here with you, yep. And then you're going to stand on one leg for me. Everybody hold that position.
Either.
It's tough. All right, now try the other leg.
Nope. Can't do
Okay, perfect. And relax. Now, it is completely normal to have a little bit of sway. It's also normal if you start to lose your balance to take a step. That's called a stepping strategy that keeps you safe. But you have your ankle doing a lot of movement there, and that whole chain is working, ankle, knee, and hips. Right? So if you've had any joint issues or have any arthritis in there or any type of underlying condition, don't be upset with yourself if it's challenging. It's very, very normal. Can people still hear me in back? Yeah. We still good? Okay, perfect. So right on there, easy, medium, or hard based on the leg too. So the left side may be easy and the right leg may be hard. That's an example. And now we're going to go heel-toe rocking, which is one of my personal favorite. But you're going to hover those hands next to your chair. You're going to shift your weight to your heels to try to lift your toes, and then shift your weight to your toes to try to lift your heels. Usually going backwards is much harder. And some people can't even lift their toes at all, and that's completely fine.
And if you have running shoes on, it makes it twice as hard because they're at an angle.
Yeah, it can be challenging, yep. And relax. So you right there, easy, medium, or hard. So that is challenging some of the proprioceptors in your joints to see kind of where you're at, right? And don't be upset with yourself. This is just an assessment. I appreciate everybody trying. Sound good? All right, now we're going to get into the challenging stuff. No, just the rock. Yep. Now we're going to challenge the vision a little bit, okay? So the vision, again, be really close to your chair because you really want that confidence, and you can grab the chair if you feel like you need it. So we're going to go normal stance, which is just your normal stance. So just stand there, and then close your eyes. So once you close your eyes, it's very normal to have an increase in sway. That's absolutely normal. Now open your eyes. Okay, everybody looks super good. So that is a fundamental, just a little assessment to kind of see where you're at with a normal base of support. And now we're going to go tandem, which is that heel-toe stance, right?
With your eyes closed.
With your eyes
Oh.
closed.
When do we go?
Whenever you feel ready. A lot more sway is normal. Okay. And open your eyes. Just challenge yourself for a second. And then right on there, easy, medium, or hard. Now, if we think about walking and the things we do that require a narrow base of support, right? Walking is a lot of stuff on one leg, right? Because if we start to feel less confident on one leg, what do? We shorten up our stride and have more contact with the ground. We go slower and shorter. So gait speed is important because normal gait speed is correlated with longevity. And longevity is a fancy word for living longer. Right? So things that correlate with longevity is that gait speed and balance, all of those things. So that's why we assess it. That's kind of the why behind it. And that's what I do with my clients is I look at you now, but what's 10 years from now going to look like? Because if that's medium or hard difficulty now, I can't, you can only take a guess what it's going to look like later. Okay? Now for the last one, all right, single leg stance, eyes closed. This one could be a booger, all right? So we're going to stand on one leg, and we're going to close our eyes. Make sure that chair's next to you. And if you hold it for 1 second, that's okay. Okay, good. All right, make sure you try both sides. And then make a note on your sheet, easy, medium, or hard. Oh, I see a lot more staggering, and that's absolutely expected. So I'm sure some of you are curious, okay, so if I had a 1, what does that mean? Like, what's the normalized data for that for people who are 50 and above? Somewhere around that 5-second mark for a single leg stance has where we're starting to see that's like the minimum. You want to shoot for that 5 seconds. Eyes open, 5 seconds. Eyes closed if you want to get fancy. But a lot of things that when a fall happens, this most often happen at night and in your bathroom. It's the most common place. So when we're going through this assessment and we can see some areas are harder than others, maybe it's a joint replacement, maybe it's arthritis, maybe it's an underlying condition. And while that may be your story, it doesn't mean that we can't work on that stuff. We can't shy away from the things that are hard because we want to be resilient and improve our longevity. And balance is a subsection of that. With me? Go.
So if you can hold me, I'll just be on camera.
Yeah.
I can hold one leg, my eyes open, for more than 5 seconds, which would be easy, right?
Yeah.
But I can't do it with my eyes closed.
Sure.
What is of the 3
Yeah, great question. So,
is the proprioceptors that are not working with the eyes closed?
well, it's your reliance on the vision. And so when we close our eyes, we take vision out of the equation. And so your body's just trying to use vestibular system and proprioception, and it's having a hard time doing that. So that's why we focus on improving those things
So
individually.
If it's down to 2 then for proprioceptor
Yep.
vestibular, I imagine it's hard to do something with vestibular. So it's mostly what you can act on is your proprioceptor.
Well, the good news is a lot of the stuff I'm going to give you and go over kind of works on a mix at the same time. And so it's kind of, I like to do things that are most bang for your buck. And so if we're going to do it, let's just do it quickly and efficiently, right? So we don't have to spend forever doing that stuff. I hope that answers your question, Mary. Sound good? Yeah. All right, so the inner ear, the vestibular system, and this one, a lot of people have never even tried this stuff before, but you're going to stand there, normal stance, and you're just going to look up for me, look down, and then look left and look right. Eyes open, yep. So what this mimics is you being out in the community and walking. Let's say you're going down the grocery aisle and you're looking at something to your right, or if you're in the parking lot and you look left or right for a car coming, and sometimes we can get a little unsteady or stagger when we do that. And so you're going to, you just hit the space. I think I might need it. You're going to write on there easy, medium, or hard. Okay? Now you're going to go same thing, normal stance, eyes closed, head turns. and then pat your head and belly. All right, normal stance, close your eyes, turn your head left, turn your head right, up and down. Okay? So the way we can take that to a next level too is that we increase the speed. Because as things are hard, we do them slow, and as time goes on, we tend to slow down a little bit. But what happens if we increase the speed on all of this stuff? That's when things can get even more challenging. So as we're going through the assessment, and when I do an individual assessment, when I'm thinking like, how do I bulletproof your balance? Well, it's not only assessing it, but what variables do we need to change? Do we need to stand on something that's a little squishy to represent an uneven surface? Or what happens when we increase the speed? Because speed stuff gets challenging as we get older. We tend to slow down. I say we, but you know what I mean. Okay, so now we're going to go over another vestibular test, which is the squat or bending over. So this type of motion here, or doing a squat and then standing back up and see how you feel. And a lot of people don't think of this as inner ear, but think of your head in position as it coming back up. You only have to do one, but I appreciate the effort. If we want to turn this into a workout class, we can. Yeah. Okay. Everybody okay? All right, so that's the doing part. So you see the easy, medium, or hard. Go through and kind of look at how you did. What system needs a little bit of TLC? I'll never say it's bad, but we could just give it a little TLC. Thank you, Maureen.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, pleasure. Everybody hand a round of applause for her. She stood up here with me. So that is a very fundamental assessment, and that when I work with somebody individually, we dive a little bit deeper into the different systems, but I wanted to show you guys what it kind of feels like from a high-level approach. Okay? You can have a seat. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so now you kind of know, at the very bottom of that, we're going to go over some things later, but you can easily take a couple of those things that we just did and you can put it on there of like your homework. And then if I have your email, when I send out those exercises, it'll have on there my typical prescription for those exercises. So how much and how often. That's important, right? And that leads right into my next thing of like how much is needed to make a difference. And that is a great question, and physical therapists and other healthcare professionals for a very long time have been guilty of underdosing you guys. So we're not doing enough because we're fearful of something bad may happen. But a lot of great research came out that even with high-intensity interval training at 80% of your max heart rate and your body's capability, the risk of an injury is low. You're at greater risk for doing nothing. So that's why we're okay to be pushed to an uncomfortable level. And while that is individualized, in a grand scheme of things, that if we do a good self-reflection, we probably could say we could do a little bit more and a little bit more intense, but it just depends on how motivated you are. Like intrinsically, how much you can drive yourself to that next level. And either you can have somebody help you get there, or you can get there yourself, but the evidence shows that we have to get there. And that's just unfortunately how it is. If we want to really move the needle, if you really want to do something that's going to take you to the next level, it's hard. It's very hard. It's fun, it can be fun, but it can be challenging. Is that fair to say? So then if we look at the evidence of saying like, okay, so if we know we need to work harder, how much do we have to do? Well, that 15 to 20 minutes a day has been shown to be a good sweet spot to shoot for. And my next slide is going to go over that more.
Is that once a day, twice a day?
Once a day, yeah, total. Like if we're looking at the threshold on what adds years to people's lives and makes people stay away from vulnerability and frailty earlier in life, it's that 15 to 20 minute mark. No one wants to be described as vulnerable or frail. And so how do we move out of that fragility? We have to put in some hard work. Now, medications and other stuff have its place, but no medication is going to make you stronger. No medication is going to give you better balance. No medication is going to make you have more confidence. It's a dose of hard work and a physical health expert. Physical therapists are positioned greatly to help with that, but there's other healthcare providers that can help you improve your physical health, but you just got to build your team. And that team should be following those minimum guidelines that have been shown by the American Heart Association, the World Health Organization, and many other organizations. They've done a ton of research on hundreds of thousands of people, and what needs to be done to move the needle is 15 to 20 minutes a day that is moderate to intense. Now, how does that circle in with balance? Well, balance is a part of improving your resiliency. We know we need to do strength training and aerobic work as well. And the good news is those same things that improve your aerobic capacity and your strength also improve your balance at the same time. And so balance should be a part of your global self-care routine. You don't have to sit there and spend 20 minutes doing just balance exercises. But right, we saw that squat, right, that's a part of balance. And if you're stronger and your bones are denser and you have more lean muscle mass on you, the more resilient you are. So let's say you are unsteady and if something does happen, well, can you fall gracefully or can you get up from the ground? Like those types of things. Now I get it, some people are battling, past surgeries or different conditions, or maybe they do have a little bit of osteopenia or porosis and all that stuff. And we take that in consideration, and there's good data to show where we need to start, but how we get there to have the most bang for our buck and as quick as possible, we've got to go into that little zone of being uncomfortable. And uncomfortable is where we grow. So when I work with my clients and I'm thinking about building resiliency and reducing vulnerability, we're looking at how much resistance training are you doing, how much cardiovascular work, how much balance work are you doing. And balance is a subsection of that, of course, but we talk about the other stuff as well. Right? I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't talk about the other stuff, because your health is not just one component. You aren't a knee. You aren't someone with bad balance. Your human being has goals, and we've got to take the whole system into consideration. Right? And that's what's great about what I do. I love doing that with people because I look at it from a high level, and every person that I work with, I try to get right at that 20-minute mark of every day. If you do this, we know that you're reducing your overall vulnerability, and we are absolutely adding years to your life. Functional years.
What do you recommend for the aerobic exercise training? What types of exercise?
Yeah, so the low-hanging fruit answer is anything that gets your heart rate up. Yeah.
Would you repeat the question when they asked me? Because we can't.
Oh, sure. She asked me what specific exercise she recommend for aerobic training. It's all relative, right? And so you can use some calculators to figure out what your maximum heart rate is, or you can use a scale that's called a Borg scale, which is on 0 to 10, how hard is that activity to do? We try to make it really simple. So I ask you, let's say you're walking for a mile. How hard was it for you to do? Well, if you said 2, easy, well, then that's great. Have fun walking. I'm a big proponent of getting steps in the day, but that's not moving the needle. If you told me it was 7, 8 out of 10 hard, I'd be saying, that's great. You need to keep that up.
What happens, I walk 5 miles.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
With the dog.
Sure.
So 1 minute, your heart rate's up and then boom.
Sure.
Then it's up and then it stops.
Yeah.
Then it's up. Is that
I love it.
bad?
That's great. That's a high-intensity interval training at its definition. And so it's high, it's intense, and then it dives down. It's intense. So I think what we're getting at here is that there's many ways to get it done. You just got to pick a way to get it done. For some people, that may be swimming or pickleball, and some people are like, I just want to do something in my house. I'm like, bingo. Then I can easily show you how to do something in your house. And I've had every person at every age. I've got a 90-year-old right now doing jump squats. We had to work to get there, but that's the level that we get to, and he has all the confidence role to play pickleball. 9. This. Ooh. Okay. And all I'm saying is it's very individualized, and we had to, if there was a joint that had an issue, then maybe we would do something else, right? But we just have to get to that level. This is how you be preventative and not reactive. Right? We don't want to wait till something bad happens. Let's get ahead of it. Let's bulletproof your body and kind of see where you're at, where you want to be, and fill in those gaps. And that doesn't always require a plan of care of 2 times a week for 8 weeks. No, absolutely not. Build the habit, work on it on your own, and then circle back. But your body should be very much treated like your teeth. You go to the dentist every 6 months. You got to take care of your physical health. You got to have somebody take a look at it. And PCPs, no harm in their own, but that can't be done in 15 minutes. I mean, I've been talking to you for 35. I haven't even taken a look at you.
Is there such a thing as too much?
Too much exercise?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's such thing as too much water. I always try to shoot for the minimum threshold, but it's all based off of goals. So what are your goals? If you told me you wanted to walk at Disney for 8 hours, well, that's a very different goal than be able to sit there and do a puzzle. So it's all goal-based. 15 to 20 minutes, getting your heart rate up, doing a mix of strengthening, aerobic work, and balance. And so we try to do a program that is very well-rounded to hit all of those areas. Now, what I gave you today was very balance focused, and if you're doing awesome in the other areas and you know you're active and you're treating your body well, then just do a little balance TLC just to give yourself that next leg up. But if the other areas that you want some more information on, or know that could use some help in, or you just want somebody next to you doing it, then just team up with your local PT or a physical health expert. There's a lot of people capable of that, but I think we just got to ask the right questions. Does that make sense? Can you guys appreciate the importance of doing that stuff? Right, so that's usually the first step of like, okay, I know I need to make the change, right? Stages of change, but how am I going to do it? And that's where you just got to go out there and just be a little uncomfortable. So we're going to put a program together. So you could do that off of the exercises, and let's say you had a couple of them that were hard, or one or two. Then to put those as your homework. Like just start working on those, and I'll send out the PDF to show you the parameters. And by parameters, I mean reps and sets, and how long to hold it, et cetera, et cetera.
Where do you put your email address?
There's a sign up by Casey. So as long as you put your name and email and we can read it, you'll get the email. And it'll have the free PDF. It's like 11 pages long. You can go through it. Okay? But some of these are my favorite exercises, and those will be on the sheet of that we're working on the proprioception, the vision, the vestibular, and then we can level it up. I put a couple on there that, if you're doing really well, we can level it up. Okay? So, question?
If you're doing yoga on a regular
Yeah.
basis, that's good.
Great.
Self, but you still need the aerobic cardio.
Yeah. The aerobic work is definitely a component that should be included in a very well-rounded program. But yoga is very good, it's very amazing. It does length and strength. Like those are two big components.
Now, I hate aerobics.
I hate aerobics, yeah.
I work out and I do that, and because of my breathing and so on, my heart rate goes up.
Yeah.
Not to that level. Is that considered into the aerobic?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, absolutely.
So as long as your heart rate is up and you feel it.
Yeah.
It's 15, 20 minutes.
Yep. And then ask yourself that question, how hard is it? If you're like, man, I can hold a conversation, then it's not quite at that level. If you can go a little bit more, then that would be a sweet spot. And this has been shown to be safe with people, diabetes, hypertension, like all of the comorbidities. Like if you look up anything, what's the number one and number two treatments? Like, diet and exercise. Like if you just treat your body well, your body will pay dividends.
And tennis and golf, if you're active in that,
Absolutely.
you can add all that.
Yeah, that all matters. That all adds to that bucket. 150 minutes a week of that exercise that's the standard. That's the minimum. And if you're doing that, that's been shown to help reduce your chances of of just dying from heart conditions and just early mortality.
One last question. My husband
Please.
is an amputee above the knee, so he has to shower with one leg and do various things. His balance is very good.
Awesome.
And he does the treadmill. He does aerobics 3 times a week for a half hour. But he can't do a lot of the other stuff. Is that?
Yeah, that's great. Amazing. Yeah, it's still really good.
So he doesn't have to do additional stretching or balance or something.
Ooh, doesn't have to do. I don't know about that.
Well, what I'm saying is right now he'll take a shower for 10 minutes and on one leg.
That's great. Yeah.
Because he has to, work.
Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely great. Yeah, I'd be proud of him too. Yeah. And it takes a team, so kudos to you too.
Okay.
Yep. What other questions? All right. Who wants to try a hard one? If they did really well, I knew it. Come on up. Who said sure?
Okay.
Yeah, come on up.
I have to take my jacket
So sometimes people get super confident and they're like, you know, I actually don't need any of this stuff. I actually am doing pretty well. I'm like, awesome, Mrs. Jones. I don't know Mrs. Jones, but let's just take a look and see how you're doing. I'll show you. Yep. So come on over here, stand up, or stand up. Don't get on the ground. All right, we're gonna stand on one leg and we're just gonna see where you're at. Impressive, right? Awesome. Then come back up. Oh, perfect. You stopped already. Good. So eyes closed on one leg. So this is kind of typically what
this is a little harder.
Yeah, sure. I love it. And that's okay. Very normal. That's awesome. Kudos to you. Now you're showing off, right?
No.
Right side now. We'll go right side.
This is my worst thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing my eyes closed. I'll open or closed.
Closed. Perfect. And relax. Good. That's amazing. That's really, really good. And I would just say continue doing that type of
I
thing.
do it every morning. That's why.
There we go. You can see something like that hard work pays off. And that's amazing.
Do you want me to do any other one?
Yes, I'm going to have you do more. So now we're going to stand on one leg, but we're going to come over, we're going to tap and come back up.
Okay.
Good. Good. And so what this does is it's looking at her leg strength and balance at the same time. So this
I
is
went too far out.
this is mimicking you going down those stairs. Remember talking about that?
Oh, so I do this, it helped me going down the stairs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good. Then I'll do this every morning.
Right. I'm not going to ask her to close your eyes because you never go down the stairs closing your eyes. Like,
No.
we never do that. You definitely use the handrail, right? But
But I want to go down without the handrail.
yeah, but that control is important.
That-
And remember how things slow down a little bit, but when we're busy and life's going on, we tend to do things at our normal speed, in which we can notice that normal speed can get challenging
No,
over
the
time.
challenge is to do it without the rail. The
I-
rail
yeah,
is
it's great.
easy.
Yeah.
But if you, and I'll go the other side.
And I think this just speaks to individual goals, right? Because some people just say, hey, just use the rail forever, see you later, go on and do your thing. I won't
No,
accept
I
that
don't
answer.
wanna do
Right?
the
I'm like,
rail.
you want to be your best version of yourself. Go.
So
You can relax.
I was told that I do things too fast, and that's why I trip or fall, or
Okay.
lose my balance.
Sure.
So I was told to just slow down and be more methodical.
Okay.
Suggesting that may not be the.
I don't know. I feel like when someone says that, I look at dual tasking then. And so some of the exercises we do is I'll have you tandem walk.
Well, tandem
Yep,
walk.
tandem
Okay,
walk,
yep.
and hold a cup full of water. So
Oh,
pretend you're holding here,
well,
and
forget
don't
it, the
spill
water
that
will be
water.
on the floor.
Right? So then you're trying to concentrate on two things at once, and sometimes that's where you can run into trouble. And so they're like, man, in the kitchen I fell. I'm like, what were you doing? You're like, man, I was cooking a meal for 20 people. I'm like, okay, so dual tasking, you can relax.
And so there are exercises for that versus.
Yeah, so the simple ones are just like doing like mental task where you're doing the exercise but also doing a mental task, or you could be doing a hand task as well. But it doesn't have to be super hard, but just got to be doing something. Or doing the single leg stance and the head turns, like technically that's doing two things.
Anything else you want me
No,
to
that's
do?
good. Thank you. Okay, and so I've been speaking to this a lot, which is the vulnerability and the resiliency. But the reason why I started doing what I'm doing is because I realized the traditional healthcare system was just missing out. Because when you go somewhere, they can only focus on one body part at a time, and they're not able to look at you holistically. Like from a 15,000 foot view, what does your life have? What do you do in your life? And what does your physical health need to be at for you to do the things that you want to do? And are we being preventative and looking at the future of like, okay, we know that the healthcare system is taxed more as we get older, which is okay, but are we doing our best to reduce our medication usage and reduce our vulnerability as we get older? And we look at all of that stuff. So then I have a program that's called the resiliency program that we look at balance, strength, and the other things and kind of just see where you're at. I help fill those gaps for you, and then I can either help you get there or show you what you need to do to get there. But it's very different than traditional healthcare. And yes, we work on the normal back pain and knee pain, the hip pain, wherever, the stuff that's holding you back. But once we tune that up, what do we need to do to keep you tuned up? We take it that one step further. And I'm sure if you talk to people I've worked with in the past, they would attest to that as well. So that's building your resiliency, because it's if something does happen, how quickly do you bounce back? Do you have that functional reserve? So if something does happen, you can get back as fast as you can. That makes sense? So that is the definition of resiliency. And we want to become resilient human beings, especially in the best part of your life. It's supposed to be the best, right? Best health, but you want to maintain your physical health. That makes sense? So I do that, sometimes I do that monthly or quarterly. It's not very frequent, but it is very impactful. And it starts with a good physical exam, which is 45 minutes to an hour of looking at your physical health. Okay? That makes sense? And that's really what separates traditional healthcare from people stepping away but want to provide something that's at a higher level. And that's why I love coming out here, because you guys are so motivated and you guys have great intentions, and I just want to fill that gap for you. Because sometimes when I worked 9 years in a clinic in traditional healthcare, and there was just so many pieces missing. But how do we bring it all together? Because unfortunately, insurance-dictated healthcare is not doing well for us. Okay? And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to chat and listen mostly. I guess I've been chatting the whole time. But I hope you guys kind of learned a little bit of what balance is and some of the components of balance, and then have some homework to start doing on your own. Work on those things. So we want to be preventative instead of reactive. And this is really, really important. But it is hard. I'll be the first one to tell you that to get to that level is challenging. Yes, I am nice about it. Yes, I will help you along the way. But being uncomfortable is where we grow. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's okay. So, question, go.
Yeah, I do some of the exercises, not a lot, but I walk up and down the house. I don't dare walk outside. I'm afraid I'll fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I'll do. But I walk up and down the house without, using the cane and everything. But they still don't have good balance. I was at the gym for about a year.
Yeah.
I can't go anymore because I'm off.
Sure.
So it's just going to take time.
Yeah, and it does take time. It absolutely does take time. But you want to make sure you're branching into that zone of being uncomfortable. Sound good? So if you guys put your name and email down back there, I will absolutely send that email to you. I appreciate you guys taking the few minutes here to chat, and I thank you guys for coming.